dude here with Solid X State. I tell you what, man, there is this four-letter word, man, that does the rounds. That does the rounds in our lives. You know, you hear about it, man. You hear about it on the television. You know, you hear about it from your mom. You hear about it, and it's this thing called love. This thing called love, you know. This thing that, if it would seem, wears many a mask, you know, many a face is worn by this thing called love, man. Because there seemingly is all kinds of love around. There's seemingly all kinds of love. Like, there's crazy love. Right? There's love that, there's that general sense of epiphany that people will have for one another, you know, the common affection, right, that one will have with their friends. There is that, you know, that love that men have for their ladies. There's that kind of love. There's like love that people have for their kids, right? You know, we're also told about this love, this sort of transcendent religious love that, you know, sort of fixes everything. You can just fix the world with love, we are told. All we need, some have said, is love. You know, so but what is love, man? Is it just a good time? Is it just kicking back and being easy? Is it just having a sort of chill mentality? You know, what is this thing called love, you know, that they speak of, that's supposed to fix the world? That's supposed to fix our lives? You know, people will also say, oh yeah, God is love. God is love. What does that even mean? What is love? You know, then in my life, I came upon a time and a place, man, where I discovered this funny little thing called, you know, Christianity. And I found that in Christianity, there was a message of love that I had not heard before, that I had not imagined. It had not entered into my mind, the kind of love that Christianity talks about. In the book of Corinthians, 1 Corinthians chapter 13, down in verse 4, it says, love is patient. Love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful. It is not arrogant or rude. Love does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice in wrong, but rejoices in what is right. You know, right there, man, from the get-go, you know, this kind of love is a kind of love wherein you must check your attitude. Because the love that is herein described is a love, you know, that isn't just an easy-going, by and by, get along with everyone kind of love, man. It's a kind of love, man, where you got to check yourself. You got to check your own heart. You know, it involves, if you will, a certain measure of discipline in being human, a certain measure of maturity, a certain measure of adulthood. You know, in the kind of person that you will choose to be, the kind of person that you will represent to people, right? In who you are and how you live, you know. It is not just the common affection that friends have one for another. Down in verse 7 it says, love bears all things. Love believes all things. Love hopes all things. Love endures all things. So herein, man, we have this picture of love that is in a way controlled and in a way tough as nails, man. It endures. It hopes. It has a purpose. It will endure the struggle. It will overcome. It will, in patience, outlast the difficulty, outlast the heartache. Love will see things through. You know, this is the love that Christianity points to. You know, it is disciplined, it is adult, it is tough, and it is not, you know, it is not easily disregarded. It will not be, you know, set aside. It will not be dismissed, you know, but rather, man, it will be heard. It will have its time. It will have its day. It will see things through. You know, and how is it that I embellish, if you will, these passages as such? Well, let's look at in the book of Isaiah in chapter 59. You know, because we are told in Christianity that, you know, God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. So what is this love of God that he gave his only begotten son? What is it? What are its attributes? What does it look like? What does this love of God look like? In Isaiah, the book of Isaiah, chapter 59, this passage, if you will, describes in short measure, man, the trouble of life that we find ourselves in. The trouble of life in which we find ourselves, man, you know, knee deep. You know, it says that the way, and down it's in Isaiah 59, starting in verse 9, it says, "Therefore justice is far from us, and righteousness does not overtake us. We look for light, but behold darkness. And for brightness, but we walk in gloom." You know, this therein is the trouble of our lives. You know, this is, you know, the measure of difficulty, you know, in which mankind fails time and again. One need not only look at history to see, man, the measure of difficulty that is dealt to our lives, the trouble that people endure. You know, and where does it come from? Where does it spring from? Man, does it not spring from ourselves? Does it not spring out of our own hearts? The trouble, the heartache of men. It says down in verse 14, "Justice is turned back, and righteousness stands afar off, for truth is fallen in the public square, and uprightness cannot enter." Uprightness cannot enter. Truth is lacking. And he who departs from evil makes himself a prey. The Lord saw it, and it displeased him that there was no justice. He saw that there was no man, and wondered that there was no one to intervene. Then his own arm brought him victory. He put on, it says, and righteousness upheld him. He put on righteousness as a breastplate, and a helmet of salvation on his head. He put on the garments of vengeance for clothing, and was wrapped himself in fury as a mantle. This is God's response. This is the love of God. This is the love of Christ. You know, to run into the struggle of life, you know, bearing up salvation. His salvation that came at the price, man, the cost even of his own life. That his resurrection might be as well excellent, glorious, clothed in fury. Our salvation clothed in fury. The love of God clothed in fury and vengeance to bear us up. This is the love of God. This is the love that is in Christianity. It is tough as nails. This is the love of Christianity. It knows, man, its purposes, and for such things it will endure, for such things it will overcome. Jesus said, "In this world you will have trouble, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world." This is the love of God in Christ Jesus. Yo, alright man, that's the vid. Like and subscribe or whatever. God bless. See you guys next time.